The foundation stone for the Grand Millennium Dam was laid on April 2, 2011. The project was soon renamed the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The Nile discourse favored downstream nations, Egypt and Sudan. The government made a stunning announcement. The nation would build this colossal dam by itself, and Ethiopian diaspora played a crucial role. The largest hydroelectric power plant in all of Africa, with installed capacity of 5,150 megawatts. Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD, is the physical manifestation of that long-held dream. The setting itself is one of dramatic, almost theatrical grandeur. Here the Blue Nile thunders through a deep, formidable gorge, a place of raw, untamed natural power. It is in this very gorge that Ethiopia chose to make its stand, to build a monument not just of concrete and steel, but of national will. It was a project that sought to unify a diverse nation of over 100 million people behind a single monumental goal. The GERD became a symbol of a national rebirth, a renaissance in the truest sense of the word, a quest for dignity on a continental scale, promising a future that is not only more prosperous, but also cleaner and more sustainable for generations to come. The dream of a great dam on the Blue Nile is not a new one. It has echoed through the corridors of power in Addis Ababa for decades, a persistent whisper of what could be. Studies and surveys of the river's potential date as far back as the mid-20th century, even during the imperial era of Emperor Haile Selassie. The immense cost, the complex regional politics, internal instability, meant the vision remained just that: blueprints and feasibility studies gathering dust on a shelf. The catalyst came in the early 21st century. The moment was seized by the late Prime Minister, Meles Zenawi. He saw the dam as a cornerstone of national development. The foundation stone for the Grand Millennium Dam was laid on April 2, 2011. The project was soon renamed the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Ethiopia was growing rapidly, but constrained by a crippling energy deficit. One of the lowest electricity access rates in the world, a barrier to industrialization, a barrier to modern healthcare, a barrier to education. For the government, the GERD was the definitive answer. It was meant to power Ethiopia's transformation into a modern middle-income economy. For centuries, the Nile discourse favored downstream nations, Egypt and Sudan. Colonial-era treaties had allocated the lion's share of water to them, largely ignoring upstream rights like Ethiopia's, which contributes over 85% of the Nile's flow. By starting construction, Ethiopia challenged that imbalance. It asserted its sovereign right as the river's source to use its waters for its people, signaling a shift in the Nile basin's hydropolitical landscape. Perhaps the most remarkable chapter in the GERD story is how it was financed. Facing immense international pressure and the reluctance of global financial institutions like the World Bank to fund such a politically sensitive project, Ethiopia turned inward. The government made a stunning announcement. The nation would build this colossal dam by itself, an unprecedented undertaking for a developing country, a financial gamble of monumental proportions. The project became a national rallying cry, a test of collective will and sacrifice. Not a government project, a people's project, a legacy for all Ethiopians. The government initiated the sale of GERD bonds, letting citizens invest directly, transforming the financial burden into patriotic participation. Teachers, farmers, soldiers, civil servants, grassroots fundraising swept the nation. Donation boxes in government offices, donation boxes in private businesses, school children collecting coins, musicians holding benefit concerts. The Ethiopian diaspora played a crucial role. North America, Europe fundraising events, telethons, online campaigns, physically distant but emotionally and financially invested. Financing forged an unbreakable bond between people and project. Every concrete block poured, every turbine installed, truly their dam. The sheer scale of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is difficult to comprehend. It is, simply put, an engineered marvel. The largest hydroelectric power plant in all of Africa. When fully operational, its 13 turbines will spin. Together they reach an installed capacity of 5,150 megawatts. That's more than double Ethiopia's electricity capacity before the dam. Projected annual output, 15,760 gigawatt hours. More than half the population once lacked electricity. The GERD's output represents a 65% increase in national electricity. It will illuminate millions of homes for the first time. Children able to study after dark, replacing hazardous kerosene lamps with clean, reliable light. It will power refrigerators to preserve food and medicine, enable modern appliances that improve daily life, a literal switch from darkness to light for millions. Beyond the home, this energy fuels economic transformation. It will grow factories, it will develop industrial parks, it will create much-needed jobs. It lets Ethiopia manufacture its own goods instead of importing. Local welders benefit. Small bakeries expand their hours and output. Reliable power will attract foreign investment. It positions Ethiopia as a potential energy hub for East Africa. Ethiopia already exports electricity to Djibouti, Sudan, and Kenya. The river's energy, once lost to the sea, is now harnessed and shared. A network of light and opportunity across the Horn of Africa. Dramatic before and after. Deforested, smoky landscape. Reforested clear sky with transmission lines in distance. In an age where the world is grappling with the urgent crisis of climate change, the GERD stands as a powerful symbol of clean, renewable energy. The dam's primary function is to generate electricity through the power of falling water, a process that is almost entirely free of greenhouse gas emissions. By generating 15,760 gigawatt-hours of clean energy annually, the dam will displace the need for more polluting forms of power generation. It is estimated that the GERD will prevent the release of approximately 2 million tons of carbon emissions into the atmosphere every single year. This is equivalent to taking hundreds of thousands of cars off the road, a significant contribution to global climate mitigation efforts. Before the dam, a significant portion of the population relied on burning wood and charcoal for their daily energy needs, a practice that leads to widespread deforestation, soil erosion, and poor air quality. With access to affordable electricity from the GERD, millions of households can transition to cleaner cooking and heating methods. This will not only improve public health by reducing indoor air pollution, a major cause of respiratory illness, but it will also ease the immense pressure on Ethiopia's precious forests, allowing for reforestation and the restoration of vital ecosystems. The creation of the vast reservoir behind the dam, which will eventually hold over 74 billion cubic meters of water, also brings ancillary environmental opportunities. This new, massive body of water will create a more humid microclimate in the arid region, potentially supporting new forms of agriculture. Furthermore, it is expected to become a significant source for a new fishing industry. The GERD is not just a power plant, it is a green engine for development, promising a future that is not only more prosperous, but also cleaner and more sustainable for generations to come. The Nile is more than a river, it is a shared destiny for the 11 countries that lie within its basin. The GERD's construction was always going to spark intense international interest and concern. The geopolitics of the Nile are complex and deeply rooted in history. Egypt-Sudan Colonial Era Agreement, 1929 Colonial Era Agreement, 1959 granted them a majority share of the water. These treaties were signed without Ethiopia's participation. Ethiopia is the source of over 85% of the Nile's water. The GERD announcement in 2011 brought tensions to the forefront. Egypt, described as the gift of the Nile, voiced grave concerns. They feared the dam would reduce flow reaching their territory. That threatened Egypt's agriculture and its water supply for over 100 million people. Sudan, between Ethiopia and Egypt, at first shared Egypt's concerns, but later took a more nuanced stance. Sudan saw potential benefits: regulated water flow to mitigate annual floods and cheap electricity. The result, a three-way dynamic of negotiation, suspicion, and occasional cooperation. Years of intense diplomatic talks followed, mediated by international bodies. African Union, United States. The dispute centers on rules for filling the dam's vast reservoir protocols for long-term operation. The GERD has become a symbol of a shifting balance of power in Africa, signaling the rise of upstream nations demanding a more equitable share and a greater say over transboundary resources. The process of filling the GERD's colossal reservoir is a story in itself, a carefully managed operation observed with bated breath across the region. This is not a simple case of closing the gates and letting the water rush in. The filling has been conducted in carefully planned annual phases, timed to coincide with Ethiopia's main rainy season, between July and September. This strategy is designed to capture peak floodwaters, minimizing the impact on the downstream flow of the Blue Nile during the rest of the year. Each phase represents a significant milestone, bringing the dam closer to its full operational potential. The first filling took place in the summer of 2020, a moment of immense national pride in Ethiopia. Deep concern in Egypt, deep concern in Sudan. It marked the point of no return. Subsequent fillings have followed each year, the reservoir's water level rising steadily behind the massive concrete wall. By August 2023, Ethiopia announced the successful completion of the fourth and final phase of filling, achieving the target volume of 74 billion cubic meters. An artificial lake has now been created over 240 kilometers long in a region that was once a deep, winding gorge. The completion of the filling process is a pivotal moment. The Great Lake is now a permanent feature of the landscape. To stand before the grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is to be humbled by the sheer scale of human ingenuity and effort. It is a structure of almost unimaginable size, a veritable mountain of concrete and steel dropped into the heart of the Blue Nile Gorge. It stands at a towering height of 155 meters, taller than a 45-story building, and stretches about 1,780 meters across the gorge. Inside the powerhouses lies the heart, the turbines. Total, 13 turbines. As of September 2025, the dam stands complete, the reservoir is full, the concrete has set, many turbines are operational, feeding electricity into Ethiopia's grid. It is no longer a blueprint, but a functioning, power-generating titan, the largest of its kind in Africa. The official inauguration of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, scheduled for later this month in September 2025, is poised to be an event of global significance. Heads of state, dignitaries from across Africa and beyond are expected to attend, bearing witness to a moment that symbolizes a new chapter for Ethiopia and the entire continent. For Africa, the GERD is a potent symbol of what is possible. A showcase of African agency demonstrating the continent can mobilize its own resources to execute mega-projects. The dam's success will inspire other nations to look inward for solutions, heralding a new era of African-led development. For Ethiopia, the inauguration marks the dawn of its renaissance. The immediate impact will be profound. A stable and abundant supply of electricity that will supercharge its economy, improve the quality of life for its citizens. Beyond economic benefits, the dam has delivered something invaluable, a renewed sense of national unity, pride, and unwavering hope. As the turbines spin at full capacity, they do more than just generate electricity. They represent the culmination of immense sacrifice, a testament to audacious ambition, and a beacon of hope for a continent on the rise. A new dawn is breaking over the Ethiopian highlands, and its light, powered by the ancient river, promises to shine across Africa and beyond.